Good morning, dear students. I think that you remember the sentence types. Okay, which are the sentence types? Simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. Okay, I think a simple sentence is clear for you. What's a simple sentence? If there is only a single clause, and if that clause is the main clause or the independent clause, that sentence is called simple sentence. There can be phrases in a simple sentence, but only a clause can be there in a simple sentence. Okay, children, let's come study complex sentence. What's a complex sentence? If there is a subordinate clause, that sentence is called complex sentence. Okay, but there should be more than one clause in that sentence. Okay, let's analyze these two sentences. Crossing the river, I met my friend. Crossing the river, I met my friend. Another sentence. On hearing the news, I was shocked. Okay, children. Let's analyze the structure of the sentence. Crossing the river, I met my friend. Okay, how many clauses are there in that sentence? Is there any subject or verb here? Crossing the river. Okay, no subject or no verb. Okay, and in second part, I met my friend. Is the subject and predicate, or is the subject and verb in that? Sure, that is subject and verb. I, subject, met, verb. Okay, so there is only a single clause. So this sentence is simple sentence because there is only a single clause and that is the main clause. And what is this? This part, this is called the phrase. Okay, and when you make a simple sentence into a complex or compound sentence, what should you do? Okay, that means you have to develop the phrase into a clause. Already there is one clause and that should be the main clause. Okay, when you make it into a simple sentence into a complex sentence, you must change the phrase structure into a clause structure. Phrase means there will be group of words and clause means there must be subject and predicate. So, where is the phrase in this sentence? Crossing the river. Crossing the river. Okay, I met my friend. So, this part let it be there as it is. This is the main clause. Okay, and here, crossing the river. How can you make it into a clause? I crossed the river. Okay, I crossed the river. Let's make it into I crossed the river. Okay, and it can be changed into two sentences. I crossed the river, I met my friend, two sentences. But when we are making it into a complex sentence, one clause must be subordinate clause. So, I'll add the word while here. Okay, while. Sorry, I will add when. When I crossed the river, I expanded this phrase into a clause. That means there is subject and predicate. I is a subject. There is no other subject. That's why I have taken the same subject here because there is no other subject. Okay, so I crossed, and from the structure of this sentence, we understood that this is past tense. So I made the same tense here in the first part. When I crossed the river, I met my friend. Okay, and this is one clause, this is another clause, and which is the main clause here? I met my friend, that is the main clause. and this is subordinate clause or dependent clause, because when I cross the river, the meaning is not complete. We get only incomplete meaning there. That is why this can be called only as a subordinate clause or dependent clause, whereas this is main clause. So this is called a complex sentence because there is a subordinate clause in this sentence. There must be a subordinate clause in a sentence in order to make it into a complex sentence. Okay, complex, the meaning itself is very clear, complex. Okay, and here another sentence is here. On hearing the news, I was shocked. On hearing the news, I was shocked. What's the structure of this sentence? Let's analyze the structure. On hearing the news, does it have subject and predicate? On hearing the news. No, there is no subject and no predicate. And the second part, I was shocked. Okay, this is a passive voice sentence. That means I was shocked means that is simple past. I was shocked on hearing the news. Okay. And so, let's change the phrase part into a clause in order to make it into a sentence. In order to make it into a clause, this must be changed into a clause. On hearing the news, how can we change it? It's a simple past, so we must use simple past here also. The subject is I only because there is no other subject which is given. So I will take the same subject here, I. I heard the news. I heard the news and I was shocked. I was shocked. I heard the news. I was shocked. Okay. This is not a complex sentence because both part the meaning is clear. So both have main clause or independent clause. In order to make it into a complex sentence, there must be a subordinate clause. So what must we do? We have to add a conjunction in order to make it into a subordinate clause. And one of the subordinate clause that I can use here is as. So, as I heard the news, I was shocked. Okay. Did you understand what is a complex sentence? Complex sentence is a sentence which has more than one clause, and one clause must be subordinate clause. Okay, and there must be a main clause and also subordinate clause. More than one subordinate clause can be there, more than one main clause can be there, but this is compulsory that there must be one main clause and one subordinate clause. Minimum requirement for a complex sentence is a subordinate clause and a main clause, or an independent clause and a dependent clause. Okay, let's analyze some more sentences. Okay, in order to make into a complex sentence, or how to identify a complex sentence. Okay, a complex sentence can be formed by adding conjunctions. Okay, and two sentences or three sentences or four sentences will be joined together in order to make into a complex sentence. Okay, and in order to make a sentences into complex sentence, conjunctions will be added. Some of the conjunctions which can be added in order to make sentences into complex sentence are although, though, even though, while, whereas, because, since, as, when, as soon as, once, until, after, before, so that. Also relative pronouns will be used in order to make it into a complex sentence. Okay, let's analyze these sentences. Malika ordered food for me because I was hungry. Malika ordered food for me because I was hungry. Let's analyze the structure. Malika ordered food for me. This is the subject, Malika. Ordered food for me. This is predicate part. Okay, this is one clause. And next one is because I was hungry. And here subject is I was hungry, predicate. Okay, and this is conjunction. Because is conjunction. And because is, and this part, which is the main clause here, Malika ordered food for me, that is main clause or independent clause. Because the meaning is or the sense is complete in that part. And here, because I was hungry. And this clause doesn't have its existence unless it depends on the first part. So it always depends on the first part or the main clause in order to get sense. Otherwise, without the support of this main clause, it doesn't have its existence. So children, because I was hungry, this because is used in order to make it into a complex sentence. This is a, what is that? Conjunction. Okay. So this is subordinate clause or dependent clause, and this is main clause or independent clause. Okay. Let's see the next sentence. The air whistled around me as I ran down the dark street. Okay, let's divide into clauses first. The air whistled around me, that is one clause. As I ran down the dark street. How will you identify a clause? By seeing the subject and predicate. Okay, here there is the air and subject. Whistled around me, that is predicate. Here, I subject, ran down the dark street, that is predicate. So here again, there is another clause. But you see, the second part is not clear. Or the sense is incomplete. As I ran down the dark street. In order to get complete sense for this second part or the subordinate clause, it must depend on this first part or the main clause or the independent clause. So how many clauses are there? Two clauses. One is main clause and another one is subordinate clause. Together make the complex sentence. Okay. Next sentence. The man who was caught by the police is my neighbor. The man who was caught by the police is my neighbor. One thing I have to say, the subordinate clause or the main clause can be placed at any place. It can be in the beginning or in the end or in the middle. Sometimes the sentence or the clause will be cut in between and another clause will be inserted in between the clauses. Let's see the sentence. The man, that is subject. Okay. And here another clause is inserted. Who was caught by the police? That is another clause and its continuation comes here. The man is my neighbor. So here one clause is the man is my neighbor. Subject is the man and is my neighbor, that is predicate part. So this is a main clause because it gives complete sense. Okay, and this is called independent clause. Who was caught by the police? Here again relative pronoun who, that is subject, was caught by the police, that is predicate part. So this is called the subordinate clause or the dependent clause. Without the help of the main clause, there is no existence for the sentence. Okay, I think that now it's clear for you how to make a sentence into complex sentence, or how will you identify a complex sentence. There must be a subordinate clause in order to make the sentences into, in order to make a sentence into complex sentence. Okay children, I think that it's clear. Keep in your mind the rules. That means there must be one main clause and one subordinate clause. Okay, that is the minimum requirement in order to make or in order to identify a sentence into a complex sentence. Okay, student, this is enough for today. Please make it thorough in your mind. What's a simple sentence and what is a complex sentence? Okay, thank you.